if you stay in the moment, if you just have gratitude for having the opportunity, having gratitude of having the ability to actually go on a bike ride or take on a challenge or just being alive and healthy and having the means and support to do these initiatives and challenges, that's hugely rewarding.
Yeah.
And I think just to be thankful for the opportunities that you do have, that's a real positive. And you know, if there weren't all these environmental challenges that I was hoping to try and help solve, I think life would be pretty boring, really. Key message is that it does teach you to be grateful and live in the moment, and it shows for me it highlights the importance of collaborating with people that are really cool and making you recognise that you are not alone. If you are too focused on your own self and the problem that you're trying to solve, and if you're trying to do that by yourself, it would be hugely depressing. Whereas if you do it in gratitude, in collaboration with others, it makes it really enjoyable.
Yeah. Is this something that you have also learned by how your relationships have evolved as your consciousness has expanded? What is the ripple effect? How has the ripple effect of your choices affected the people around you, friends and family?
Yeah. I'll give you an example. With this job around ocean pollution and highlighting the importance or the critical aspect of plastic pollution, you know, I've noticed my family, my parents, and even just people we work with are so much more focused on litter and plastic pollution. So like one of my colleagues was saying the other day, he's a film producer, film director, and we did a bit of filming together, and he said, after I work with you and my boss Jeremy Brown, he said, I just walk around everywhere now and I just look at the ground and I see all the pollution, I see all the litter on the ground, I pick it up, and that's real positive. And if I use another example, I'm very passionate about a plant-based vegan lifestyle diet in particular. And I've noticed my family and friends have, to my real surprise, have either become completely vegan or mostly vegan.
Wow.
And even like my parents, you know, my dad's 78, my mum's 71. It's be fair to say that they'd be allowed to be set in their ways. Recognising that it's probably only 4 or 5 years ago that I went vegan. Now I've noticed my parents have sort of seen how much healthier I am in terms of, and how much I've managed to, I guess, lift my sort of sporting triathlon sort of speed and strength. They've looked at that and gone, well, Brad's doing really well on that. Eating meat and dairy and eggs is unnecessary. In fact, it's probably doing you a detriment. And I've noticed with my immediate friends, almost all of them have gone predominantly plant-based.
Yeah.
Which is
you're
even my
inspiring
my brother Julian, I thought would be the biggest meat eater, like totally. He's a air conditioning mechanic. He's a tradie.
Not the stereotype.
No, not stereotyping,
Yeah,
but it's fair to say he'd probably class himself as a blokey bloke, and under no pressure from me, him and his wife took up veganuary.
Wow.
A couple of years ago, I think, and they're still vegetarian. So in that regard, it's been really positive. Again, it's just about creating awareness about the fact that, what you do in your day-to-day life has a direct impact, whether it be on yourself, on your own health, or the health of others, or the planet. And I think once you sort of create that awareness, whatever it might be, the solutions appear. And it's not a case of forcing any sort of values down your throat. So if I said to Ven, I saw you with a single-use plastic bottle, you'd be like, back off, big deal.
Bleep off yourself.
Yeah. But if you're like, you say, what do you do? And what's that all about? And it's all about planting a seed. It's sort of about, I think it's out of Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yep.
If you throw an idea or an opinion in someone's face, it activates the reactive part of their brain. And if anything, and that's what I noticed when I first went vegan. I was just like, how come everyone else isn't vegan? And I'd be like, come on, you gotta go vegan. And people were like, And I remember my brother was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to eat more meat, you know?
Yeah,
And it's just like, that doesn't work.
Stop forcing your beliefs on
Yeah,
me.
totally. Whereas I'm just like, hey, I'm vegan. Oh, by the way, I just did Ultraman.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to argue with that.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to argue.
I know for those of us listening at home, I had no idea what this was until I met you.
Yeah.
And you do Ultraman events.
Yeah.
Will you tell us what that is?
I'll preface this by saying I have done Ultraman.
Have done, yeah. But you've done a couple, right?
Oh yeah, so the last 2 years, I've competed in an event called Ultraman Australia, which is a crazy distance, 3-day event, just up the road in Noosa. But it's day one is involves a 10-kilometre ocean swim, and then you jump on a bike and ride for 145 kilometres.
Wow.
Day two is a 271k bike ride, and it's quite hilly as well. And then day three is an 84-kilometre run, a double marathon.
You run 84 kilometres.
Yep.
Twice the distance of a marathon in one day.
Yeah. And
after having done
a
billion kilometres before that.
Exactly. Look, it's gruesome. Key reason I did that was more or less to show what you can do on a plant-based diet. When I first went vegan, my triathlon speed and strength went up another notch, and I just felt so much faster, fitter, stronger, and I won a whole bunch of races. And I found that was the most effective way to actually sort of plant a seed in people's brains to say, oh, maybe going vegan isn't so bad after all. And particularly all my mates who want to go fast and win triathlons, they will spend thousands of dollars on this bike or a helmet that might save them a few seconds. I'm like, dude, the most easy, cheapest, it'll actually save you money, will be to eat your veggies, and it'll make you so much faster. That's, to my mates, sort of like, oh, I want a piece of that action. After winning a few national titles in sprint and Olympic distance triathlon, I was like, I want to pick the biggest, baddest event I can possibly find.
And tackle it.
And that was it. And I saw Ultraman Australia and I thought, that's it. So I remember rocking up to my first one, and it's invite only. You've got to apply, you've got to do whatever.
Well, because if you weren't preparing for this, like,
it
could kill you.
Oh, well and truly, it can very much kill you. Like, I remember rocking up to my first event, and I was just like, all these ultra endurance, like hardcore, like there's ex-professional athletes, there's seasoned Ironman athletes, guys who have got all these records for whatever around Australia, ultra endurance events, and little old me rocking up, going, oh, I'm going to give it a go. I honestly thought I was going to, there was a high risk of me dying. Like 270 kilometres on a bike, this is crazy. 84 kilometre run, that's crazy.
You'd never pushed your body like that
Totally
before.
never. But long story short, I out of a field of about 55, I came fourth.
Huge.
Which, the guys who beat me, I think they were all either ex-pro athletes or full-time triathlon coaches. And then to I guess put another full stop on it, I did it again. To show it wasn't a fluke, I did it second time around. And second time around, I came fifth. And again, the guys who beat me were all either professional athletes or ex-professional athletes or full-time professional coaches. They're not guys who are working full-time as an engineer or whatever. They're serious athletes. For me, it showed, getting back to one of the things you're asking me about before, it just highlighted to me a couple of things. Number one, if you work hard and surround yourself with amazing people, and recognising you do this with a crew support. I had a bunch of friends who helped me through the whole thing, and to be honest, I would have definitely died if I hadn't have had a crew. So they were fantastic.
This is more evidence for collaboration.
Exactly. So my key message that I took from Ultraman was, if you whatever the ridiculous target might be, whatever it might be, whether it be to climb a mountain or get a new job or do a cool YouTube video or a podcast, whatever that crazy goal might be, if you work hard and surround yourself with amazing people, and you are living in line with your own values, anything is possible. And it almost seems like the universe conspires to support you as well.
It certainly does.
Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. It's a hard lesson to learn. It'd be easy just to read it in a book and say, that's a good lesson, I'll take that. But for me, I had to go through that process of 3 grueling days twice amongst all the training that goes with it.
The real question is, will you do it again?
I don't think I will.
Okay.
To be honest, I've done it. I've done it twice.
You don't have anything to prove?
That's the thing, I've proven my point now. So the whole thing was about proving that vegans can basically do anything.
And you were keeping up with the best.
Totally.
You were up in the top with the best.
Second time I did Ultraman, like it seems like about a third of the field are vegan anyway. Because I think when you do triathlon, you're always looking for sort of the edge, you know, the 1%ers. And I think
the lighter shoes,
whatever, aero helmets, recovery pants, whatever, ice baths, you name it, you know. But I think ultra endurance, and particularly when you're ultra endurance, like there's a fine line between enjoying yourself and doing well and dying. And so you are definitely keen to explore all avenues. And I think a lot of ultra endurance athletes and triathletes have identified for the fact that, eating plant-based lifestyle, eating fruits, who would have thought eating real foods and nuts, seeds, veggies and fruit makes you actually healthier, which means you recover quicker, which means you can train harder, which means you can race harder. And what I see nowadays is that I'd be just making up the numbers if I was to try and do it again, because everyone's doing it. And it's not just triathlon, so you see in other sports. So the world's strongest man, Patrick Bavuvian, a guy who just crossed Antarctica, unsupported, Colin O'Brady, like Venus Williams, Djokovic, so many plant-based athletes who are absolutely crushing it. Crushing it.
Cruelty-free and killing it.
Exactly. So from my mind, there's enough people doing that nowadays.
Right.
What I want to do now is use my engineering knowledge and expertise and focus on a problem that isn't getting much attention. That issue, from my mind, is plastic pollution in our oceans. And not just plastic pollution, so plastic gives us a voice in terms of advocating for the protection of our oceans and waterways, because plastic everyone gets. But in stormwater in particular, like I mentioned before, there's a whole bunch of pollutants that a lot of people don't sort of readily understand. So if we can begin the conversation about stormwater management through using plastic as a sort of, the unit of conversation, it begins that conversation. But we, as stormwater professionals, we know it's not just plastic, it's all these other pollutants that go with it. You know, really highly contaminated sediment, dissolved heavy metals, bacteria, etc. Endocrine disruptors, stuff that makes fish stupid and us ultimately sick. And the big thing is we tie it back to a human health perspective, because people do care about their own health. And so, because a lot of people don't care about fish, a lot of people don't care about whales, dolphins, sea turtles, etc., which is, that's fine for them, but everyone cares about their own health. And we do know that the health of our oceans and waterways is intrinsically linked to the health of humans. Appropriate stormwater management is a public health issue, and we need to do it better.
It's so awesome that you're a warrior for that front.
The warrior's path is a hard path. Like, you asked me before about how I felt. Like, I think, for my mind, if you're going to try to solve or achieve something that is hard, the journey, the path is probably going to be hard. There's going to be times when you're despondent and depressed, and you feel as though the weight of the world's coming on you, and you feel as though you're not making any difference or having any progress. But you know what? That probably shows that you're on the right path. We are exactly where we need to be right now.
Because we are here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly where we are.
Totally.
And it's all part of the journey. I listen to a lot of Abraham Hicks, and she talks about, well, her name's Esther Hicks. Anyway, I listen to a lot of this from them, and they call it the contrast, right? And that's just because you're experiencing something that doesn't necessarily feel good doesn't necessarily mean you're not on the path to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So it is important to find that positivity in that contrast, even when you're like feeling despondent and feeling like, oh man, this is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But finding a little piece of gratitude to be like, oh, you know what's awesome is that I actually get to address this.
The most important, critical, beneficial lessons you get out of life are from the really hard times.
They're the deepest lessons.
Totally. As bitter a pill it might be to swallow, sometimes it's good medicine.
It's great medicine.
Yeah.
The best medicine.
Totally.